Welcome to the Economics Easter Crash Course. We will be going through all the major topics in economics over the next 3 days, 4 hours per class. If it is possible for me to keep it shorter than 4 hours, I will, but only if I can do it without rushing too much, right? As if we just rush through it and might kind of defeat the purpose. All right, so let's looking at the syllabus. There's 8 sections in the syllabus, right? The first 4 sections of the syllabus is based on microeconomics, which I believe everybody should know the difference between micro and macroeconomics by now. I hope so. And the second half is about macroeconomics, right? Now the good thing is, um, paper one, thing you know about paper one. The good thing about paper two, right? The first 3 questions in paper two are normally drawn from the macroeconomics section. And then number 4 and 5 is from sections 5 to 8, the macroeconomics part, right? So I'm not telling you how to do this, but if you are able to, if you know your microeconomics perfectly and you could get full marks in the first 3 questions, you basically pass your paper two already. So microeconomics can prove to be very important. I would say make sure you know all, but just saying if you know your micro, you'll be on real points. Alright. Hope all you finished all the SBs by now. If you haven't finished the SB, and you're still working on it and you need assistance, I'm going to be offering it as a separate service. So if you all need assistance by now, you can message me. I know students in my school would have finished that. That is actually already submitted and everything to CSEC. But those who ain't finished yet and have a few days again before it's time to submit to CSEC, if you all need assistance, feel free to message me. If you're not doing a SB, you'll be doing a paper 3, which I promise you is easy. I promise you, paper 3 is very easy. Right. So today, we're going to be looking at the first 3 sections: native economics, production, economic resources, and resource allocation, and demand and supply. Mhm. And we're going to look at what economics is, the different branches, the meaning of economics, the different economic agents. We're going to look at scarcity, choice, and opportunity costs. The very first curve that you would see in economics, production possibility frontier, also known as the production possibility curve. I realize a lot of you always forget it. And factors affecting economic agents. First, let's look at what economics is, right? Right? Economics is a social science that studies how consumers, firms, and governments make choices and on allocating scarce resources and satisfying unlimited wants in society. Now, the keywords I want you all to get in this definition: social science that studies. So you need to show that it's something that is observing a phenomenon, right? It studies something. Consumers, firms, and governments, those are the economic agents. How they make choices and scarcity. Scarce resources to satisfy unlimited wants, right? That's scarcity. So if you say economics is a social science that studies how economic agents make choices based on scarcity, perfect. Right? But make sure you mention it's a social science that studies something and mention scarcity in some form or the other. Right? The economic problem known as scarcity. Right? Economics looks at how we use our scarce resources to do many different things, to create wealth, to produce, distribute, and consume goods and services, and what affects the behavior of people during that process. And we have two branches of economics, something that we should know by now. That'll be one of the first things to learn, probably the first day, the very first class. There's microeconomics and macroeconomics. You all know about them already, right? Micro and macro? Yeah? You all know the difference between microeconomics and macroeconomics? Yes, no,
Yes,
maybe?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Alright. Let's remember micro means small, macro means large, right? So micro looks at individual agents, and macro looks at the entire economy.
Yeah, this was.
Now, what is an economy? So we just mentioned an economy, right? You could view an economy as a place where certain things happen, where goods are produced and consumed, a place where scarce resources are allocated to satisfy unlimited wants. Right? Mhm. This would normally be a country or region or the entire world at large. So Trinidad has its own economy. Barbados has its own economy. Jamaica has its own economy. But then these things could happen on a Caribbean scale. So the entire Caribbean could have their own economy. America would have their economy. England, France, Spain would have their own economies. But then the entire of Europe would have an economy. Any place that supports the use of scarce resources to satisfy unlimited wants is an economy. And inside every economy, you would have what we call economic agents. They would be the ones who are involved in the use of those scarce resources to satisfy unlimited wants. And those economic agents are households, firms, and the government. Who can tell me what the households do in an economy?
Sorry, there's buy goods and services.
Right. Anything else that they do?
Help provide the factors of labor.
Right. The factors of production to firms. What do firms do?
Provide the economy with goods and services.
Right. And what else they do?
Provide household with income.
Right, because they'll be paying the households for those factors of production. And what does the government do?
Provide laws.
Right, they will oversee the whole process. They will provide laws and rules and regulations that would guide how the households and firms operate. But they would also, in some instances, provide some um goods and services as well. They will provide public goods and services,
Excuse
and
sir.
they would purchase from firms. Yes, somebody asked a question.
So you
Sir,
could repeat what firms do?
They sell goods and services and they pay households for factors of production. Somebody else said, excuse me just now.
So I was going to ask if the government would redistribute the income to the.
Yes, that is definitely a big one. They do redistribute income in the economy. So they collect taxes and they use the taxes to redistribute income, help out those who are less fortunate, who doesn't have as much income as others. Very good. Alright. This is basically what we just spoke about. Households consume goods and services, and their owners are factors of production. Firms, they produce goods and services, and they buy factors of production from households. The government provides the rules and laws for households and firms to operate. And the government also produces goods and services. So they all interact with each other. Not only does the government produce some goods and services, but they also pay households for factors of production, and it have government workers, and it have people from households working in the government. So governments do that as well. Governments play the role of both households and firms in some instances, and they govern how they operate. So all of them interact with each other. And we look at this in more detail later on. Now, scarcity. This is the whole reason why we have the subject economics in the first place. If this didn't exist, we wouldn't be here today studying economics. We would have no need. Right? If we had unlimited resources, everybody just go and get what they want when they want it, we'll have no problems. Probably would have no crime, would have no poverty, everybody would just be living nice. But that is not the case, right? Scarcity exists. We have limited resources on it. That's just life. That's just reality. We have limited resources, but our wants are unlimited. So now, because of that, we have to make choices on how we are going to use our limited resources to satisfy our unlimited wants as best as we can. And that's where these three economic questions come in. We have to decide, what are we going to produce? How are we going to produce? And for whom we are going to produce. And this is where choice and opportunity cost comes in. You have $20, you're hungry. KFC have a one piece and fries for $20. Pizza Hut have a mini one topping pizza for $20. Can you buy both if you only have $20?
No, sir.
No,
No, sir.
you can't. So you have to make a choice. You have to choose between the one piece and fries or the pizza. Whichever one you choose, you're going to be losing out on the other one. The other one that you lose out on is what we call opportunity cost. It's the next best alternative that you gave up or foregone. Right? So scarcity leads to choice, and choice leads to opportunity cost. Are you all seeing that link?
Yes, sir.
Gosh. Right. So if I was to ask you how to define opportunity cost, you will be able to?
Yes, sir.
Somebody define it for me now.
Opportunity cost refers to the next best alternative foregone.
Good job. And what are the three groups that make choices?
Households, firms, and governments.
Thank you. Mhm. What is the central problem in economics again?
Scarcity.
Scarcity.
All right. I define each of the following terms. What do you all think a need is?
Something
Something
that
I can't
So
live
you
without.
can about
You can't live it out, right? What do you think a want is?
something you can live without.
All right, something you desire that you could live it out. And what's opportunity cost again? Just to make sure you remember.
the second best alternative foregone.
Right. An 18-year-old student has just completed Cape Studies and has decided and has to decide on her future. Explain two economic factors that will influence the decision of this student. What do you think?
Opportunity cost
All right, so what they'll be giving up if they have to
and
if they
scarcity.
decide to study.
And scarcity.
All right. So they have to look at what resources they have to put towards studying or not. Mhm. Let's look at the production possibility curve now. And we are still looking at scarcity and opportunity cost when we look at the production possibility curve. Huh? Keep that in mind when we are looking at it. Keep that in mind that we're still looking at choice and opportunity cost. It might change the way you look at it. So the production possibility curve shows all the possible combinations of two goods that you could produce when you're using all of your resources. I'll say that again. It's a curve that shows all the possible combinations of two goods you could produce using all of your resources. So I'm gonna use an example with money, right? Just to make it a little simpler to understand. Let's say I have $10. Let's say I have $10, right? A bobby is $1 and a snack is $2. If I buy 5 of the snacks, how much of the bobbies I could buy? I'm gonna put it on the board. So I have $10. A bobby is $1 and the other snack is $2. If I buy 5 of the snacks, how much money I have remaining to buy bobbies? Anybody?
Sorry, zero.
0. So I could only buy 5 snacks and no bobbies. If I decide to buy 4 snacks, how much I have remaining? How much bobbies I could buy?
$2.
So I could buy
Two.
2 bobbies, right? So the first combination was 0 bobbies and 5 snacks. The second combination, if I buy 4 snacks, how much bobbies I could buy?
Two.
2 bobbies and 4 snacks. If I decide to buy 3 snacks, how much bobbies I could buy?
Four.
4.
Four.
4 bobbies and 3 snacks. If I buy 2 snacks, how much bobbies I could buy?
6.
So 6 Bobby and 2 snacks. If I buy 1 snack, how much Bobby I could buy?
8.
8 Bobby and 1 snack. And if I buy no snack, how much Bobby I could buy?
10.
10 Bobbies and 0 snacks. This will be all the combinations of the snack and Bobby I could get using my limited resources of $10. The production possibility curve is similar to this, except if instead of buying goods, you are making goods. And you're looking at the combinations of goods that you could create using your limited resources. Does it make sense?
Yes, sir.
Right. So before I even go to the curve, I want you all to see how this can show choice and opportunity cost. For choice, and you'll have to choose a combination because you can't have every combination, right? And you'll have to choose what combination we want. If it's 5 snacks and 0 bobbies, or if it's 3 snacks and 4 bobbies, or if it's 8 bobbies and 1 snack, and you'll have to make a choice.
Yes, sir.
Alright. And let's say we had 5 snacks and 0 bobbies. And we want to move to 4 snacks and 2 bobbies. And to get those 2 bobbies, and we had to give up one of the snacks.
Yes, sir.
And that 1 snack that we gave up would have been the opportunity cost. So you're seeing the connection, right? You're seeing the connection between production possibility
Yes,
curve,
sir.
choice, and opportunity cost. Good. Now, is it possible for me to get 5 snacks and 10 bobbies?
No, sir.
No. That would be what we call unattainable. Because I don't have enough resources to get that. Now, if I get 3 snacks and 1 bobby, would I be using all of my resources?
No, sir.
Alright, so that would be me being inefficient because I'm not using all of the resources available to me. Right. Keep all of those things in mind. We're going to apply that same thing to the production possibility curve now. Oh gosh, that's now. We're applying that same thought process to the production possibility curve. So instead of buying the goods, we are producing it. We are using our resources to produce the goods. We have a certain amount of resources. If we use all of our resources to produce 14 of good Y, we have no more to produce any of X. If we produce 12 of good Y, we could produce 10 of X. If we produce 9 of good Y, we have enough to produce 18 of X. If we produce 5 of good Y, we have enough to produce 25 of X. And if we produce none of good Y, we can produce 30 of X. That is us using all of our resources at different combinations. Combination A, B, C, D, and E. So if I move from combination A to combination B, in order to get 10 of good X, I'll have to give up 2 of good Y. So that would be my opportunity cost. If I'd move from combination A to C, in order to get 18 of good X, I would have had to give up 5 of good Y. So that would have been my opportunity cost. You're seeing it, right?
Yes, sir.
Alright. Now let us take a look at the graph itself now. So when we create any graph, certain things you have to make, right? Certain assumptions you have to make. First assumption is that resources are fixed. You can't get more resources, right? We have a certain amount of resources that doesn't change. The second assumption we make is that technology remains constant. So our technology can't just improve, making us be able to produce more goods. Our third assumption, the economy only has two goods that we produce in. So we're using our resources just to produce those two goods. And the last assumption is that all of our resources are being utilized efficiently. So you have to keep that in mind, those four assumptions in mind, right? The supply of resources are fixed. There's no improvement in technology, it remains constant. There's only two goods in the economy. And all resources are being used as efficiently as possible. This is how it looks. You'll have one axis, will have the first good. The next axis will have the second good. Here would be 0, this point. And it will plot all the different points. So, let's say, for example, as a matter of fact, before I show it here, I'm going to go back across. I'm going to draw it small here, right? I could draw a straighter line than that. At least I think so. Yeah, man. Boom. So you have one axis. Let's say there's your y-axis and an x-axis, right? I'll let the y-axis be good y. And the x-axis be good x. This point here will be 0. And let's say you have this part here is 5. This is 9. This is 12. This is 14. It's just me averaging terribly, but averaging, right? And then for good x, let's say this is 10. Let's say this is 18. Let's say this is 25. And let's say this is 30. This is how you're going to plot your graph. Point A is when good y is 14 and good x is 0. So you're going to look at for the points on the graph that's in line with 14 for y and 0 for x, which will be here. That's in line with the 14 for y and 0 for x. That would be your point A. We could probably label it A. Then for point B, you're looking for the point that's in line with 12 for y and 10 for x. So 12 for y is here, 10 for x is here. So that would be about here. So you plot your point. That would be point B. Then you do the same thing for C now. You look for the point that's in line with 9 for Y and 18 for X. So 9 is here, 18 is here. So that point would be about here. You highlight the point, and then you name it C. Do the same thing for the second point. Y is 5, X is 25. So you look for the point that's in line with 5 and 25 for X, which will be about here. Label it. Call it D. Then the last point, Y was 0, X was 30. So I look for the place where Y is 0, that's down here, and X is 30, that is up here. Highlight the point, label it E, and then I draw my graph. So I would draw a line connecting all of the different points. Boom, 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 boom. And that's how you plot your graph. Everybody was able to follow that?
Yes, sir.
That's what we did here. We plot out all the different points, and then we draw the graph. So below is a production possibility schedule, which shows all of the combination of sugar and corn that could be produced in a country. In the country named Hopeful, draw a PPF curve for the country Hopeful. Put our different points. We will plot it again exactly how I showed you all just now, right? Now, remember we was looking at what we couldn't buy with the $10. We couldn't buy like 5 snack and 4 bobby because we didn't have enough money. It's the same thing here. For me to get point Z, to get this amount of sugar and this amount of corn is impossible. Because the same way I didn't have enough money to buy the snacks, here I don't have enough resources to produce this many sugar and corn at the same time. So this point Z is what we will call unattainable. We don't have enough resources to produce it. Now this point X here, let's say I just take 2 bobby and 2 snacks. I would not have spent all of my money. So I would not have used all of my resources. It's the same thing here with this X. For me to just get this amount of sugar and corn, I'm not using all of my resources. So I'm not being as efficient as I possibly can. So this point inside of the curve is what you call being inefficient. So Z, I don't have enough resources, so it's unattainable. And X, I'm not using all of my resources, so I'm being inefficient. Only points on the curve itself am I using all of my resources. Only points on the curve itself. Everybody follow? Yeah? Everybody good?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, things could cause your curve, your PPF curve, to shift forward or back, right? It could shift outward or inward. Anything that's allowing you to produce, though, for all of economics, I'm going to tell you this one time, for all of economics, for every curve, more means outwards or to the right. Less means inwards or to the left. Get that in your mind? for the rest of your economics life. More is outwards, less is inwards. Any curve. So anything that's allowing you to produce more goods and services would push the curve outwards. So let's say you discover new natural resources. That would push the curve outwards. Or you improve your technology. That could push the curve outwards. Your labor get more efficient. That could push the curve outwards. Because it allows you to produce more. Anything that's causing you to produce less will push the curve inwards. So let's say you have less resources. That would push the curve inwards. You have a decline in technology. That would push the curve inwards. Let's say you had a natural disaster or something. That would push the curve inwards. You have less labor. Let's say a country at war. So you have less workers. That would push the curve inwards. Anything that's making you produce more would push the curve outwards. Anything that will make you produce less would push the curve inwards. Everybody following there so far?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. So I don't ever see this coming for CSEC, but sometimes the increase could happen for or decrease could happen for only one of the goods. So you have pizza and wings here, for example. Your labor improve, but only for pizza. So now you could produce more pizza using the same resources. That would cause part of your curve to shift. So instead of the whole curve shifting outwards, only the part that relates to pizza would shift outwards. Or let's say something had happened and the technology to make wings has a decline. Only the part for wings would shift inwards. Right? I haven't seen it ever come for CSEC, but it's something good to know, right? Now, if they ever ask you to calculate opportunity cost, it is the change in the first good divided by the change in the second good. This triangle here in economics means change. Right? So it's change in good X divided by change in good Y. So let's say, let's go back a bit. We went from 28 to 24. The change there would be 4. And then the corn would have been going from 0 to 10. The change there would be 10. So it will be 4 divided by 10. Well, negative 4, because they lose 4, divided by positive 10. Also, don't see that coming for CSEC much, but it's good to know, right? Mhm. What I do see coming for CSEC, though, is this. The shape of the curve, if the opportunity cost is increasing, if it's constant, or it's decreasing. So the further you go, the amount you have to give up might increase. So the first time to get one good, you might have to give up 2 of the other good. The second time to get a next good, you might end up having to give up 3 of the other good. The third time to get a next good, you might end up giving up 5 of the other good. So the opportunity cost is increasing. If it is increasing, this is the shape it would look. A production possibility curve will be bowed outwards. It will have a belly like this. Right, like mine, well, like what my belly used to be. I could say used to now. If it's constant, if it's not changing, if it's the same amount all the time, it will look like this, a straight line. And if it's decreasing, so it's getting smaller each time, it will be bowed inwards. So it'll have an inward belly. I've seen this come for CSEC. Right? So you'll need to know these shapes. If it's increasing, they call it concaved or bowed outwards. If it's constant, it's a straight line, and if it's decreasing, it'll be convex to the origin or bowed inwards. My opinion, bowed outwards and bowed inwards may be easier to remember, but it's up to you all. To bowed outwards, increasing, straight line constant, bowed inwards decreasing. Now, we'll move on. Everybody good with production possibility curve, right? You'll see how it's connected to choice and opportunity cost. You'll see how production possibility curve is connected to choice and opportunity cost.
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
As you whole point of studying of opportunity cost, huh? Whole point of looking at production possibility curve, sorry, to get a better understanding of opportunity cost. Right. Now let's look at the factors that affect economic agents. So we know households buy goods and services. That's the main thing. Firms create goods and services, and then the government oversees those interactions, right? That's each of their main duties. What are factors that will affect their decisions when doing these things? So the household, that's us, this should be easy for us. What affects what we buy? That'll be things like the price of the good, our personal choice. I just mightn't feel for to eat unhealthy food, so I'll buy a salad with plenty protein. Your income, I want to go Japan tomorrow, but the way my income set up, I might have to settle for going to Port of Spain. The bandwagon effect. You see other people buying something, so you want to buy it too. Everybody back in France for World Cup and buying France jersey, you go on and buy a France jersey too. You can't pronounce any of the players' names. You're saying Mbappe for the instead of Mbappe. The type of work you do. I own a laptop because I do online classes. I might not have owned a laptop if I worked in customer service, for example. Your level of education. My standard 4 daughter may not have a laptop, but my child in university, I do have a child in university, another old, just an example. My child in university might have one. Or there might be certain textbooks that you're buying because of the level of education you have and what you're pursuing. The rate of interest, the interest rate is low, so now we're taking a loan and buying something. The interest rate is high, alright, better just save my money. The weather conditions, rain falling every day, gonna buy a raincoat or gonna buy an umbrella. How do firms make decisions? Firms studying their money. So they will look at how much it costs to produce goods. The cost increase, I'm gonna produce less. The cost decrease, I'm gonna produce more. They will look at how much profit they're making. This good making more profit, we're producing more of this good. This good making less profit, we're producing less of that good. The resource base, how much resources they have available to produce goods in the first place. Industrial relations, how is their relationship with their workers? Are their workers willing to put in extra work to produce more? And then changes in demand. Oh, people want less of this good, we will produce less of it. People want more of that good, we will produce more of it. And then when it comes to the government, we look at how the government influences these households and firms by preparing laws and policies that they have to follow through it, and adhere to, by giving grants. So now firms may have some certain firms that they want to have more money, they can give grants to them. If they want more of a certain good or service, let's say they want more agriculture, they can give out grants to businesses who are in agriculture. They could use their taxes. They want people to produce less of this good, so they tax that good more. They want people to produce more of a next good, so they tax that good less. Industrial zones could decide where businesses are located and where they operate. And any provision of infrastructure can make the interactions between households and firms much easier. Imagine if there were no streets anywhere at all, they're just forests. How long are you going to take it to get from one place to the next? But because of the infrastructure that the government puts in place, the roads, the bridges, the buildings, all those different things, now we can interact with each other far easier. Let's look at this question. Define each of the following terms. What is economics? Anybody can tell me what economics is?
So the study of how economics.
Mm-hmm. It's
Economics is referred to as a social science that allocates resources and how
a
to
social
allocate scarce
science
resources.
that studies
That
how
How to
study
allocate.
individuals allocate scarce resources. Very good. Let's make sure you say it's a social science that studies. Start off like that, right? It's a social science that studies, and then say something about scarcity, right? How economic agents use scarce resources, how individuals use scarce resources. Just say something about scarcity after. What is the production possibility frontier?
A graph showing the combination of two goods that can be produced.
Using
opportunity
It's
cost.
resource.
using all of your resources,
Ah,
right? Using all resources. All right. Identify three factors that will cause an outward shift in the production possibility curve. Remember, outward means they're producing more or less.
more. An
More.
increase in technology.
Increase in technology. All right. Two more.
Um, More resources,
More resources. One more.
Labor efficiency.
more skilled laborers,
Right. Very good. Explain one factor that will cause the production possibility curve to move inward.
less resources, natural disasters,
Right. Now, keep in mind, because you say explain it, that's to go into detail, right? Let's keep it in mind. Two, use the production possibility frontier. Explain the concept of opportunity cost and efficiency. So I'm going to do this one on the board here, right? So let's see. Right, so I'm going to actually do it on the board here now. So you draw the production possibility curve. You'll have good A, good B. You draw your curve, and all you need is maybe 2 points. You don't need too much. A, B, and you could put a point here, C. This could be, let's say, 10, And this is the 5. This is 5. What was that? That's all. And this is 10. Right. So how I would start off with this, I would explain what opportunity cost is. Opportunity cost is the next best alternative for one, right? Right. So for example, in the production possibility curve above, if I am operating at point A, where I am producing 10 of good A and 5 of good B, and I would like to increase the amount of good B I have to 10, I would have to give up 5 of good A. To operate at point B, I would have to give up 5 of good A. The 5 of good A that I give up to get the 5 more of good B would be opportunity cost. And then I would go on to explain that once I'm operating on the production possibility curve, I am using all of my resources, so I'm being efficient. If I operate within the opportunity or production possibility curve, for example, point C, I would not be using all of my resources, so I would not be efficient. And there's no way they cannot give me my full marks. You all understand?
Yes, sir.
Right. That is why I went through in so much detail the connection between opportunity cost and the production possibility curve, because they can ask questions like this. And so you'll have to use the production possibility curve to explain opportunity costs. Or they might ask you to explain efficiency or explain the unattainable point. Then D now, they said, suggest 2 reasons why the concept of scarcity and choice is important for the individuals making economic decisions. Right? So you talk about what scarcity is. You talk about because you have limited resources to use to satisfy unlimited wants, you have to make a choice. Right? Just go into detail of what scarcity is. Talk about how individuals would want to try to maximize their utility, which is satisfaction, and talk about because of scarcity, you'll have to make choices based on your limited resources. All right. So at this point, it is 1:07. Let us take a break until 20 past 1. Is that a good time for y'all?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Stay online. We just pausing for a moment. Gonna look at production, economic resources, and resource allocation. Mhm. So firstly, production is when you take factors of production and create a good or a service. A good is a tangible product, something you could actually hold, and services are intangible. It's like a hairdresser doing a hair, or taxi driver giving you a drop for money. What are the 4 factors of production? Anybody?
And
Land, labor.
capital,
Hmm. Land capital.
entrepreneur, talent,
Uh-huh. And one more.
labor,
Labor. Land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship. Alright. Productivity looks at how well or how efficiently we use those factors of production. Alright, so it looks at how well we use our land, how well we use our labor, how well we use our capital, how well our entrepreneurs are operating. Anybody could tell me the difference between production and productivity?
Production is when you're taking raw materials and turning it into goods or and services, and productivity is how efficient you're turning the products, the raw materials into goods and services.
Alright, how efficiently we using our factors of production. Are we good? Alright, so you know the factors of production now. Land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship. Land refers to all the natural resources that could be found on Earth. It could be anything above the Earth, below the Earth itself, and any water. Labor refers to the human effort in the production process. Mhm. Mhm. Capital is the man-made resources used to produce other goods. Mhm. And entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial talent refers to the ability of the entrepreneur to combine these other factors of production to create the good or service. Now, each factor of production has a reward for the service. Mhm. What's the reward for land? Let's see who know it before I even go into it.
rent,
The reward for labor,
Wages,
the reward for capital,
interest,
interest,
and the reward for entrepreneurship.
profit.
profit.
Good job. So, land rent, labor wages, capital interest, entrepreneurship profit. Right. Hmm. Now let's look at the sectors in the economy. And if you're doing POB, you're getting to learn something twice. We have three sectors: the primary sector, the secondary sector, and the tertiary sector. The primary sector is the extractive sector. That is when you're getting raw materials from the earth. So you're mining, you're farming, you're getting lumber, you're fishing, anything that you're getting from the earth that's naturally occurring, that will be the primary sector. The secondary sector involves taking those raw materials and converting it into something else. So you have the manufacturing sector and the construction. Manufacturing will be looking at taking these raw materials and changing it into goods and services. And construction would look specifically at infrastructure, building roads, bridges, building stuff like that. And then the tertiary sector looks at providing services, intangible assets. So the taxi driver, the barber, the hairstylist, the makeup artist, those who are providing services will be part of the tertiary sector. Everybody good with the differences?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Performance. Alright, we looked at this already. Resource allocation, right? Because of scarcity, we have to make these choices. What to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. And the way we make these choices determines the type of economic system we're using. You remember economic systems? You remember doing that in school? Those economic systems determine how we answer these economic questions: what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. You have 4 economic systems that you'll need to know. Again, if you did POB, this will be revision for you because you would have done it well. It's supposed to be revision either way, but you would have done this in POB as well. The first one is the traditional economic system. This is the one that was used before money existed. There are still some places in society that use it, but it's not very common. They produce goods and services for themselves. They make their own goods and services. They use it for themselves and their loved ones. And in some instances, they might even trade with other people. Then there's the planned or command economic system. In a planned or command economic system, those choices, what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce, are made by the government. The government decides what to produce. The government decides for whom to produce, and the government decides how are they going to produce it. So they might decide, here what? You want goods? No matter who you are, you gotta line up and get the goods. Or they might have certain classes and say, well, these sets of classes will get this good. This other class will get this good. And so forth. It's up to them to decide how they do it. And then the complete opposite of the planned or command economic system is the free market or capitalist economic system. This is when the answers for those questions are done by private individuals like you and me. So we decide what we're going to produce. And it's based on what people want because we're trying to make a profit. We will decide how we're going to produce it. So based on what legal, because there's no country that is 100% free market, the government will still exist. It's just that you'll have more freedom on our decision making. So based on whatever is legal, we'll decide how we want to produce our goods. And then for whom to produce, we will set our prices and we will sell to whoever we want to sell to. And then we have the one that we see the most in the Caribbean. The combination of the two. The mixed economic system. This is where both private individuals and the government answer these questions. What to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce, right? Both of them will decide, so the government will decide, based on necessity, what to produce. So we might need roads, infrastructure, and so forth. Private citizens will decide based on what people want. The government will decide however they want to produce it. The private citizens will decide how they want to produce their stuff. And then the government will decide who they want to produce for. Private citizens will decide who they want to produce for. And let's look at the subsistence economy first, which is the traditional economy. Some advantages and some disadvantages. So this economy, they'll normally be like hunters, gatherers, they'll grow their crops, they'll fish, things like that, right? And remember money, they don't use money. So they might trade with each other. They might use barter. Advantages of that, there's a lot less bureaucracy. Right? So you don't have to study money, people just trading with each other. You don't have to depend on trading with people on the outside world. Everybody just organizing themselves. Disadvantages though, the population growth is very limited. If they don't do a good job of their hunting and gathering, people are gonna starve. And they are very, very vulnerable to nature. You won't see this in the modern world. You'll see it in like Amazon forests and stuff like that. Characteristics of the traditional economic system. The plan or command one. Oh gosh, I didn't put the advantages. I'll put it in before I send it to you all. So the planned or command economic system, the government makes all the decisions. They will decide what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce, right? The advantages of this is that decisions are made quite quickly. There's a more even distribution of wealth. So for example, let's look at Trinidad. One person might be working in a company as an accountant and get paid $10,000 a month. A next person might be working in a next company doing the same accounting job, but that company is not as successful and they're making $5,000 a month. That's not going to happen in the command economic system. Everybody is going to be getting paid the same amount based on whatever job they're doing. So all accountants getting paid the same amount. All bakers getting paid the same amount, and so forth and so forth. There's a much more even distribution of wealth that happens under the command economic system. Right? However, there are some disadvantages as well. There's less because, okay, so one advantage is that less resources are wasted from stuff like competition and things like that, right? Because the government isn't competing with anybody. It's just the government producing all the goods. But a disadvantage of that is that due to there is no competition, there's a lot less motivation. So one, the workers not going to get to use their ideas and stuff like that. So we're going to lose creativity and innovation. And two, because they're not competing against anybody and because they don't own anything, they're going to be less motivated. And if they are less motivated, it means the quality of the goods and services are going to suffer as well. So there are advantages and disadvantages. There will be a lot of wasted goods as well because the government is not going based on demand and supply. They're not providing goods and services that people want. They're providing what they think people need. And that will cause a little disconnect because they'll be providing some goods that people don't want, so they're not gonna buy. And then in some cases, they won't be providing enough of the goods that people actually want and willing to buy. So there will be some shortages in some cases and a surplus of goods in other cases. For the capitalists now, where the private individuals making decisions, this also has its own set of advantages and disadvantages. For one, competition creates better quality goods and services. So because they'll have different individuals competing with each other, they are going to improve the quality of goods and services. Also, they operate based on demand and supply. They want to provide goods based on what people want. So there will be a far less shortage of goods in the economy and a far less instances where there's a surplus, where there's too much goods in the economy. Because they're going to try to provide exactly what people want because they want to make a profit. Right? Disadvantages, though, is that one, there will be a lot of wastage due to competition and due to failed businesses. For example, let's look at how much money B-Mobile and Digital spend on marketing alone because they're competing with each other. If they weren't competing, all that money could go towards improving the quality of the service. Alright? And next disadvantage is that it will be difficult to get public goods. So when it's time to pave the roads and create bridges and stuff like that, if the government isn't doing it, it may take a while before the private individuals get it done. Because remember, everybody benefits from that, but there's no financial gain. So if I decide to pave a road now, nobody's gonna pave me for paving the road, but everybody's gonna get benefit from paving the road. So I might be hesitant to do it because I might want to wait for somebody else to do it so I can benefit. But then everybody will be waiting for somebody else to do it. So it might take a while. So it has its own advantages and disadvantages. And then we have the mixed economic system, the one that we operate in most instances. I think everybody here operates here. All of us are in Caribbean countries. We all operate in a mixed economy. This is where we combine both elements of the market economic system and a planned economic system. All right, so now we could produce the goods and services that we want to produce, and the government will still provide certain services that we may not be willing to provide, and it will put regulations in place to help control how we operate. So the same roads that we didn't want to pave and stuff like that, the government will do it. Now consumers have a choice in what they want to buy and sell, what they want to buy or do buy. And we still have the benefit of competition, which will keep the prices low. Disadvantages, though, because the government is involved, they won't have as much creativity as they normally would if it was completely free market. And then there could be conflict that arises between the government and private investors and how they want to allocate resources because they have different motives. Government want to benefit the society, private investors want to make money. Right? One that's not here is that there's a huge possibility of corruption. Private citizens may try to influence government decisions for their own financial gain. So they might back a government, pay money for their campaign, give them extra cash, and hope that in return they pass laws that benefit them. Mhm. There's some characteristics there. Hmm. Let's look at the different types of businesses now. And again, all of this done in PUB. And I believe all of you all are doing PUB. So you all should know about these different business organizations already. You all know about these different businesses, sole traders, partnerships, private limited companies, public limited companies, cooperatives. You all know about these businesses?
Is the private limited company and the private joint stock company the same
Same
thing?
thing, yeah. That's why I have it
Okay.
there, private joint stock company or
What
private
else?
limited
Oh.
company. Public joint stock company or public limited company is the same thing.
You could just go for the multinational corporation, get what I want.
It's just an organization that has different head offices in different countries. So they have a branch in different. They have branches in all over the world or in different countries. You understand?
No. No.
So I could be Google and have a headquarters in America and have a headquarters in Singapore and have a headquarters in England and have a headquarters in um Uruguay. I just call in random countries, huh?
Mhm.
And that will make me a multinational corporation. I'm a company that operates in multiple nations. Hence the name multinational.
Okay.
Understand now?
A little. Kind of confusing, but
Alright. So, okay, I got an example for you. So, what is the countries Googling? Countries that Google operates in. I know Singapore for sure.
So that are the franchises.
No, a franchise is different. Right? So Google has um locations in North America. Google have locations in Europe, in Asia, like in Singapore, Tokyo, Sydney, Beijing. They have offices in Latin America, so in Mexico, Sao Paulo, and in Africa. So because they are located in all of these different countries, they would be considered a multinational organization. Though it's not like a franchise. So a franchise, so like in Trinidad, for example, we have the KFC franchise, right? Prestige Holdings would have paid KFC for permission to use their image, their name and their image and likeness and operate in Trinidad. But KFC itself is not in Trinidad. Prestige Holdings is in Trinidad and they are paying KFC to use their image. That's different. In Google's case, Google itself is in these different countries. So Google is operating in America and Google itself invested into Singapore and opened a branch in Singapore. Google itself invested in Paris, invested in London, invested in Amsterdam, invested in Sydney, in Beijing, in Tokyo, in Sao Paulo, in Mexico City, and all these other places across the world. In Chile, Belgium, Denmark, Finland, Ireland, Netherlands, all these different places, Google has operations in. So they will be considered a multinational corporation. You understand? So if you were to go to New York right now, there's a Google headquarters. If you went to Chicago, there's a Google headquarters. Toronto, there's a Google headquarters. Paris, Google headquarters. London, Google headquarters. Singapore, Google headquarters. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Alright. So it's a bit, I have this here for you to watch when I send you all the send you all this, right? Okay, so traders are owned by how much people?
One,
One person.
Partnerships.
two to
2 to 20.
2
2
to
to
20.
20. Thank you. Minimum of 2, maximum of 20. Private limited companies, what is the maximum?
50.
Mm-hmm. Public limited companies, what is the maximum?
I don't think it have a limit.
There isn't any limit, right? Cooperatives, same thing. Cooperatives are owned by its members. Want for you to join a sorry, for you to join a cooperative, you have to become a member and you have to buy shares. Multinational corporations are usually public limited companies. They just have multiple locations in multiple nations.
So if CSEC acted to define a cooperative company, how exactly are they defining that?
It's an organization that is owned by its members.
Just that alone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or you could say it's an organization owned by its members for the benefit of its members. If you want to go into a slightly more detail. Right. Right. So some of this you would have done already. You know what production, the difference between production and productivity is. Hmm. You know, land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. You understand the resource, the benefit of each, the reward for each. We know the different sectors. What we're gonna look at now is the difference between the short run and the long run. So I do not want you to look at the short run and the long run in terms of number of years. Like short run might be 1 year, long run might be 3 years. In the short run, some factors of production are fixed, meaning they cannot change the amount. And in the long run, all of your factors of production are variable, meaning all could be changed. You could get more or less of all. That's how you differentiate between the two. In the short run, your labor and your raw materials are usually variable. Your capital is fixed. In the long run, all are variable. That is how we distinguish between the short run and the long run. Right? And we do work on the differences between the short run and the long run later on. So it's important that we understand the difference. Everybody clear, right? Don't want to see anybody writing the short run is 2 years. Long run is 5 years. Short run is the period in which only some factors of production are variable, mainly labor and raw materials. And the long run is the period of time which all factors of production are variable. Right? The actual amount of time would vary based on the economy. Everybody good? Yes, no, maybe? Yeah?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah.
Now let's look at costs. To produce a good, the total amount of money to produce a good is what we call the total cost. Now that total cost is made up of two costs. A fixed cost and a variable cost. Your fixed cost is the cost that does not change based on output. So for example, if I am renting a room for $3,000, it does not matter how much goods I produce. My rent for that room will be $3,000. Even if I end up producing no goods, my rent for that room will be $3,000. Isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
That is what we call fixed costs. Our variable cost, however, that cost changes based on output. So for example, if I'm making chairs and every chair costs me $5 in wood. If I make 2 chairs, how much would that cost me?
$10.
$10.
Right? If I make 5 chairs, how much would it cost me? 5 fives are
$25.
$25. So it will change or vary based on the level of output. The more I produce, the more variable cost I pay. The less I produce, the less variable cost I pay. The total cost is the combination of the two. The total amount of money I'll be paying is my total fixed cost plus my total variable cost. For example, let's say I rent a room for $500 to make chairs, right? Each chair costs $20 in labor and wood to make. What is my total cost if I make 10 chairs? My fixed cost will be how much?
500.
10.
$500.
500, right? Because my rent is 500. Doesn't matter how much I'm producing, my rent is still be 500. My variable cost would be
200.
20.
it's 20
200.
for one, but I'm making 10. So how much would it be?
$200.
200.
20 by 10, which is 200. So my total cost will equal
$700.
the fixed cost plus the variable cost, correct? Which is $700. So if I was given total cost and variable cost, can you find fixed costs?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Flip the
How would
formula.
you? Exactly,
Take
just flip the
away.
formula.
So you take away variable cost from the total cost.
Correct. And if I just had total cost and fixed cost, and I could find variable costs,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
just do the same thing, right? Total cost minus fixed cost.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, if they ask me, what is fixed cost per unit? How would I calculate it in this question, in this example?
So you have to divide your fixed cost by the amount of product you made output.
Correct. So it would be 500. So fixed cost per
So
unit.
we asked to find.
Fixed cost per unit. It will be a total fixed cost divided by the total of total units produced, which was 10. So in this case, it would be 50. If I wanted my variable cost per unit, they already gave it to me. It would have been the $20, right?
Yes, sir.
And if I wanted total cost per unit,
So you have to divide the total cost by the output.
all right. And your total cost per unit is also known as your average cost. That's this right here. Your average total cost is your total cost divided by your total output, or the total goods you produce. Total cost divided by total output. So we know what fixed cost, what variable cost is, what total cost is. We know what average fixed cost is, which is a fixed cost per unit. We know what average variable cost is, which is variable cost per unit. And we know what average total cost is, which is a total cost per unit. Now, let's look at marginal cost. Marginal cost is the cost to produce one additional unit of output. So if 10 goods cost $700 and 11 goods cost $720, what would be the marginal cost?
$20.
$20. Because it cost me 700 to produce 10, and to go from 10 to 11, it costs $720 in all, which is $20 more. The additional cost to produce that one additional unit is what my marginal cost is. You understand? Yeah, no, baby? Yes, no, maybe?
No.
Right. So, you see in the 10 and 11 on the board, right? Shaniqua?
Yes, sir.
Right. How much it costs me to produce 10 goods?
700.
How much it costs me to produce 11 goods?
720.
So, if instead of 10 goods, I wanted to produce 11 goods, how much more money I would have to spend?
$20.
That $20 is the marginal cost. The cost to produce one additional unit. You understand?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Mhm. All right. So let's see. A small factory in St. Kitts has the following costs. The rent is $2,000 and the fabric and thread costs $500 in all. What will be a total cost? Anybody?
2,500.
2,500, right? If it's 100 dresses, what would be the average cost? How you calculate it?
Wait, you're going too fast.
2,500 divided by 100.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna start over. So the fixed cost will be the factory rent, 2,000. The variable cost is 500. The total cost is fixed cost plus variable cost. So that's 2,000 plus 500, which is 2,500. Are you good there so far?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And now they want to know what is average cost. The average cost is a cost per unit. If it costs 2,500 to produce to produce 100 dresses, then we need to know the average cost, which is to produce one dress. And the average cost is total cost divided by output. So that would be 2,500 divided by 100, which is how much?
250.
25.
25.
Mhm. The last question. If producing the 101st dress cost an extra $6, what is the marginal cost?
Repeat, sir.
If the cost to, if producing the 101st dress will cost you an extra $6, what is the marginal cost?
6.
That $6 extra that is costing you will be the marginal cost. Mhm. We went through this already. And we went through these already. Right. Now we're going to look at economies, and this economies of scale is bigger, better. Let's find out about growth and what happens when you grow efficiently or inefficiently. Firstly, what is economies of scale? Economies of scale, sorry, is the cost advantages. Please mention cost. If you are defining economies of scale, do not just say it is the advantages from when a business grows. Make sure and mention cost advantages. It is the cost advantages that a business enjoys when it grows. Right? When the business gets larger, they tend to benefit from lower costs because of the increased efficiency. And I say increased efficiency, but there's basically some things that they could do because they are larger that smaller companies just can't. For example, buying in bulk. Look at the example here. If I buy 1,000 cars, each car would cost me less than if I was to buy 10 cars. Each car, if I bought 10 cars, might be 100,000 for one. But because I'm buying in such a huge bulk, I would enjoy a discount. So they might give me 90,000 for one instead. Hmm. There are different economies of scale that businesses enjoy from being large. Bulk buying is one of them. Then we have labor economies. Now we can hire more people, and they can hire people that specialize in certain areas, as opposed to the small business. So like me, for example, I am my marketing officer, my accounting officer, my human resource officer, all those things in one. If I was a larger organization, I would be able to hire somebody who specializes in marketing, somebody who specializes in human resource, someone who specializes in accounting, and have them focus on those areas. Right? Larger companies are able to enjoy that. Technological economies. The larger companies could buy or pay for the more advanced technology. You cooking using a knife to cut your vegetables, and any large company using a vegetable cutter, 10,000, cutting 100 broccoli in 20 seconds. Their productivity is going to be far greater than yours. They're going to save time and money. And then you have managerial economies. I could use better management strategies if my company is larger. I could hire more managers. I could hire more specialized managers. I could hire the better managers because I could afford to pay them better than you, the smaller company. And the more efficient they are, the more costs you're going to save, the more profits you're going to make. You have technical economies, managerial economies, financial economies, marketing economies, and risk-bearing economies. This economies now is when you grow too much or you grow inefficiently. And now, because of your growth, you actually start to lose money. Your costs start to increase. Let me show you a simple example. Don't laugh at my drawing ability, right? As a business teacher, not an artist. Right? See this high-tech machine I have, right? Now each corner a worker could operate on. I have one worker here. Boom. Working on this side. I start to grow in size. Able to hire a next worker. So I have a next worker on this side. I'm paying both of them, but I'm getting twice as much work done now because I have both of them working at the same time. Things looking good so far, right? I start to grow even more. I get 2 more workers. Don't mind PD for me. He's hire special needs people too. That's alright. I had 2 more workers. So now I have all 4 sides being utilized. We're working with pace. Definitely experiencing economies of scale here still. Alright, even though I hire more workers, we're able to produce more work, be more efficient. I grow some more. I hire 2 more workers. Now, I have people who idle because the 4 parts of the machine are already in use. Maybe some of them could take breaks and the others could swap out. But still, the benefit would no longer be as large, right? Because now we're paying 6 people, but only 4 people working at a time. I grow some more. I have 3 more workers. Now I have 4 people working at a time, but we're paying 9 people. For sure, my cost has now increased. And I'm making less money than I was before, even though I'm growing. So this is an example of me growing inefficiently. I'm hiring more and more workers, and my cost is going up, but my benefit is not going up with it. This would be an example of this economies of scale. You all understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I know my drawing is not the greatest. Let's get my Bally. Right? A lot of things could go wrong if you don't control your growth. You could have a breakdown in communication because there's so much people to communicate with. You're not communicating with everybody efficiently. Now there's limited growth opportunities because it has so much workers, but only so much opportunities for promotion. You still again, less communication. You start to feel alienated. There's so much people to go through now. The bureaucratic process get complicated and confusing. Workers are less motivated now. Pay cost, instead of going down, is going to start to go up. Let me see it. So if I was looking at a cost curve, I'm going to draw it somewhere else. If I was looking at an average cost curve, I'm going to show you what it's shaped like now. So there's this price, there's quantity. The average cost curve looks like this. Like a U. Average cost. And you see from when you produce from here, this amount of goods, all the way to about this amount of goods here, that will be economies of scale. So as you're growing in size and you're producing more, your cost is going down. You notice your cost is going downwards here. It's becoming less and less and less. That will be economies of scale. And then from this point to this point, where you're still growing, but now your cost is going back up, that is your diseconomies of scale. From too much growth, your cost start to go up. Right. One more thing to look at, which will be demand and supply. The last thing we're going to look at today. So at this point, it is 2:35. At 2:45, we shall start demand and supply. So take a little 10-minute break, shake up yourself and stuff, right? The last thing, demand and supply. So first we need to know what a market is, right? Market is the place where buyers and sellers communicate to exchange goods and services. The things you'll find in a market, you'll find buyers, you'll find sellers, you'll find goods and services, and prices. In a market, there are two forces at work. These are the things that drive the entire market. That is demand and supply. Demand refers to a consumer's desire, willingness, and ability to pay for an item. Supply is the desire, willingness, and ability to provide the item. So far, so good?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now let's look at the things that affect demand. The things that will determine how much demand a customer might have or a consumer may have. We call it determinants of demand, right? Determinants of demand and determinants of supply. So we should already be kind of accustomed to the determinants of demand. We did look at the factors that affect households, right? It's quite similar. So change in population. It have more people to have more demand. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
So more people will buy more things. Less people, less demand. If you have more income, you buy more goods. Less income, you buy less goods. Taste and fashion. You like something, chances are you'll buy it. You don't like something, chances are you won't buy it. It's really as simple as that. Seasonal factors. Christmas time, you might buy a black cake and a punch of crème, a pastel. But outside of Christmas, you ain't buying any of that. The prices of other goods. Oh, you normally buy KFC. But Church's Chicken have a sale today. So you're not buying KFC again. Advertising. The better the ads, the more likely you are to buy. Interest rates. Interest rates low, you're more likely to take out a loan or spend your money. Interest rates high, you're less likely to spend your money or take out a loan. Right? A lot of these things you would have seen already when you were looking at the factors that affect households. Now let's look at supply. The things that will affect what people sell. And we looked at some of these when we looked at the factors that affect firms. Remember we said they're studying their money, yeah? So keep that in mind. So the price of the factors of production. If it costs more money to produce the good, chances are they will produce less of it. If it costs less money to produce the good, chances are they will produce more of it. The technology. Do they have the technology to produce the good? Is the technology expensive? Is it readily available? All these things will affect if they purchase a good or if they create the good or not. Taxes and subsidies. Is there any subsidies available for producing a good that will allow you to save money? Is there any high taxes on a good that will cost you money for producing it? Are there plenty of people selling the item already? Are there little people, so little competition? All those things will be factors that they consider the weather. Something as simple as the weather. can be a huge determinant. Let's look at a demand curve. Demand curves are downward sloping. As price increases, quantity demanded decreases. The higher the price, the less people are willing to buy. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Now, remember I told you all at the very start that in economics, more means shifts to the right, less means shift to the left. If something occurs that makes demand increase, other than an increase in price, a decrease in price, sorry, that will cause the curve to shift outwards to the right. So let's say you have more income. Or substitute goods price increase. Say it's normally buy KFC, but sometimes it's buy Royal Castle. The price for Royal Castle increase. So you say now stuff I buying my KFC. Or decrease in the price of complementary goods. You normally buy peanut butter and jam together. And then the price of peanut butter decrease. So now you're buying more peanut butter and jam. Increase in advertising, people advertising it more. And you're seeing it more, so now you're buying it more. You expect the price to increase in the future, so you say, I'm going to buy it now to avoid that. All of these things could cause the demand curve to shift out to the right. Once it's increasing how much people buy, it shifts the curve to the right. Now, what could shift the curve to the left is if people buying less of it. And a few factors could cause the demand curve to shift to the left. And it's basically like the opposite. A decrease in income instead of an increase. Or a decrease in the price of substitute goods. Or a decrease in advertising. No trends. Basically the opposite of what would cause an outward shift would cause the inward shift. Now supply curves are the opposite. Supply curves are upward sloping. For supply curves, as price increases, the amount that they are willing to supply increases. So things that would cause it to shift to the left. Would those be increases in supply or decreases in supply? If it's shifting to the left.
Increase.
Increase if it's shifting to the left. Remember I told you, to the left or inwards is always decrease, and to the right is always increase. So we're shifting to the left. That's things that's causing them to supply less. So if the cost of production increase, people would supply less. Or if it have less demand, people would supply less. Right? Technology not improving, people might supply less. Or there's more taxes on the goods, people might supply less. And then to the right is increases. What would cause people to supply more? And that would just be the opposite again. So let's say cost of production decreases, people would supply more. There's more demand, people would supply more. Technology advancing, people would supply more. So it's basically the opposites. Now let's take a look at when we have a demand and supply curve on the same graph. You'll see now exit making.
Yes, sir.
What is that called
Yes,
again?
sir.
Equilibrium point.
Equilibrium.
The equilibrium point, correct. That's where the market would operate. That's where the quantity demanded is equal to the quantity supplied. If we were to operate at this point, for example, let's say we were to operate at this price. At this price, the quantity supplied will be here. So people only supply that amount, but the quantity demanded will be quite here. So you would have far more quantity demanded than quantity supplied. You can see how that could become a problem. You'd have a lot of wastage of goods in the economy. Or let's say your price is up here. Your demand will now be here, and your supply will be quite across here. So in this case now, you would have too much goods in the economy. So in one instance, you didn't have enough. The next instance, you have too much. So we need to find the sweet spot. And the sweet spot is the equilibrium point. Now is the place where demand and supply are equal. That's here. At this point, there's no wastage and there's no excess. At this price, which we call the equilibrium price, the quantity demanded and the quantity supplied are the same, this amount here. This is our equilibrium price, and that will be our equilibrium quantity. So, this is something I always threaten my class with, right? Please, when we're talking about shifts in the demand curve and shifts in the supply curve, do not mention price. Price does not cause shifts in the demand curve or shifts in the supply curve. They cause, what do they cause, Shaniqua?
A movement along the curve.
A movement along the curve. They do not cause shifts in the curve at all. So for example here, price went from 12 to 16. That would cause a movement along the curve from this point to this point. That's all. It will not shift the curve anywhere. Same thing here. Price went from 80 to 116. It used to operate here in line with the 80. Now it operates in line with the 116. So it caused a movement along the curve. So please do not write price as any cause of any shift. Please. They do not cause shifts, they cause movements. You ever heard this term before? Ceteris paribus?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
This is an assumption that we make in economics. Right? It means all things remaining equal. So all the things we're talking about here is once everything else remains equal, this is what would happen. That's what it basically means. It's an assumption that we are making in economics. They can ask you what it means. Right? All other variables remain the same or remain constant. Everything else remains equal. Anything like that. Now let us look at elasticity.
Excuse sir.
Yes?
You could just go back to the ceteris paribus. I just writing down the definition.
No
Thank you.
problem. But I will be giving you all this, this PowerPoint. You can take it down. All other things remain equal. That's an easy way to remember.
You could go ahead, sir. Thank you.
Now let us look at this last thing. Elasticity. So, if doubles change from $6 to $7, will you all buy doubles still? Y'all think you will buy doubles still? Yeah?
Sir, can you repeat?
If the price of doubles will change from $6 to $7, you think you will still buy it?
Sir, I don't know what is
Oh yeah,
doubles.
you don't know, you will know doubles. Okay, I might use a different thing. Let's say chicken, fried chicken costs $5 US. If it changed to $6 US, you think you will still buy it?
Yes, sir.
No.
Alright, so some people say yes, some people say no, right? Let's say you have medication that you need to live. You have to take it every month. It cost $100 before, and now it costs $200. Will you still buy it?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So some things, the change in price would affect it more than other things. You're seeing that? So the first
Yes,
one,
sir.
the price of chicken just raised by $1. And some people were saying they wouldn't buy it again. Some people said they still would still buy it. Some people said they wouldn't buy it. In the next example, the price doubled and everybody was still buying it. Right? So the change in price affected it less than how much the change in price affected the chicken. Right? The amount in which, or the percentage which, I'm going to say percentage, the responsiveness of the change in quantity, the responsiveness of demand due to a change in price is what we call elasticity. If a change in price would change the demand greatly, then we say the good is elastic. So the fried chicken was elastic because some people, a change by $1 was changing how much people wanted to buy. So we could say the fried chicken was elastic. If a change in price hardly affects the change in demand, then we would say it's inelastic. So the life-saving medicine was inelastic because people were still willing to buy it even though the price doubled. Right? And we have a formula on how we calculate elasticity. The price elasticity of demand, which measures the change in demand due to a change in price, is the percentage change in demand divided by the percentage change in price. The percentage change in demand divided by the percentage change in price. So we're gonna do, I have the calculation on the board already, but we're still gonna do it together, right? Let's look at the example right here. We have butter. The price of butter used to be $10. When the price was $10, people was willing to buy 8 tubs of butter. Now, the price is $12. People are only willing to buy 6 tubs of butter. And we need to calculate elasticity. The formula, change in demand divided by the change in price. First thing we're going to calculate is the percentage change in demand. The percentage change in demand is the change in demand divided by the change in price. Well, no, sorry. The percentage change in demand is the change in demand divided by the original demand multiplied by 100. The change in demand divided by the original demand multiplied by 100. There's a formula all you had to remember. So I know we really know else to go about it. You had to remember the formula. The change in demand divided by the original demand multiplied by 100. So the first thing I'll do is calculate the change in demand. It was 10. No, sorry. It was 8 tubs. Now it's 6 tubs. How much did it change by?
Two.
2.
Two
Is it more or less?
less.
Alright, so the change in demand is -2. What is the original demand?
8.
Alright, that's how I got -2 divided by 8 multiplied by 100. And that gave me the percentage change in demand. The change in demand divided by the original demand multiplied by 100. The percentage change in price now is the change in price divided by the original price multiplied by 100. The price was $10, now it's 12. How much did it change by?
2.
2. Did it increase or decrease?
Increase, sorry.
Increase. So it will be positive 2 divided by the original price, which is how much? What's the original price?
10.
$10 multiplied by 100. So that's $2 divided by $10 multiplied by 100. So I get my percentage change in demand and I get my percentage change in price. Now I can calculate my price elasticity, which is the percentage change in demand divided by the percentage change in price. So negative 25% divided by 20% is equal to negative 1.25. I'm going to do it again. So to calculate my price elasticity of demand, I have to do this formula. Percentage change in demand divided by my percentage change in price. Sometimes the question will give you the percentage change in demand and the percentage change in price, so you just have to use this formula. Other times, you will have to calculate the percentage change in demand and the percentage change in price. To calculate the percentage change in demand, it's the change in demand divided by the original demand multiplied by 100. It's the same thing with price. It's the change in price divided by the original price multiplied by 100. It's always change over original. Change over original. So to do the percentage change in demand, I'll calculate the change in demand. It was 8 tubs, now it's 6 tubs. It decreased by 2. So my change in demand is negative 2, and the original demand is 8. So I got negative 2 divided by 8 multiplied by 100. And that's how I got negative 25% for my percentage change in demand. Then for my percentage change in price, again, it's change over original. So it went from $10 to $12. So it increased by $2. So that's positive 2. And the original price was 10. So that's positive 2 divided by 10 multiplied by 100, which is 20%. Now I have the percentage change in demand and the percentage change in price. I can calculate my price elasticity of demand. Percentage change in demand divided by percentage change in price, which was negative 25%, divided by 20%, and that gave me negative 1.25. You all understood how I got it? Yes, no, maybe?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Right. You all, the best way
Yes,
for
sir.
this is to calculate, is to do practice questions. Practice it over and over again. Let it become second nature. Now let's look at what that answer means. That, oh gosh, that 1.25. What does that mean? It relates to the degree of elasticity. It will indicate how elastic the product is. Remember, the more elastic it is, the more a change in price will change demand. The less elastic it is, the less a change in price would affect demand. If your answer is 0, that means it's perfectly inelastic. No matter how the price change, demand will not change. If it's greater than 0, but it's less than 1, then it's still inelastic. It's fairly inelastic. If it's equal to 1, That means it's unitary elastic. Change in price is equal to change in quantity. If it's greater than 1, but less than infinity, which is the answer we got 1.25, that's greater than 1, but less than infinity. That means it's elastic. That means a change in price would lead to a greater change in demand. The percentage change in price is less than the percentage change in demand. And then if it's infinity, that means even if it don't change price, demand changes. It's perfectly elastic. You all need to know this as well. 0, perfectly inelastic. Greater than 0, less than 1, fairly inelastic. 1, unitary elastic. Greater than 1, less than infinity, fairly elastic. And infinity, perfectly elastic. You all need to know those 5 degrees. This is what the graph would look like if it's perfectly inelastic. See, it have different prices, but demand stays the same, going straight line upwards. That's perfectly inelastic. This is what fairly inelastic would look like. It's slightly slanted, not fully straight. Unitary elastic would look like this. A change in price will result in an equal change in quantity. Fairly elastic will look like this. It's closer to horizontal than vertical. And then perfectly elastic will be perfectly horizontal. You'll need to know those as well. Because they could ask you, draw a graph that shows fairly inelastic. And you have to draw a graph looking like this. Or they might ask in a multiple choice, which one of these graphs is perfectly elastic? And you have to choose this one, the horizontal one. Almost finished. You have 2 more. Well, 3 more actually. You know price elasticity. We also have income elasticity. So price elasticity of demand shows the responsiveness of demand due to a change in price. Income elasticity of demand shows the responsiveness of demand due to a change in income. And the formula is very similar. The percentage change in demand divided by the percentage change in income. And the way you calculate it is the same. So the demand was 4, now it's 7. How much did it change by?
3.
3. Did it increase or decrease?
Increase.
So it's positive 3 over the original demand, which is how much?
4.
4.
Right? 3 over 4 multiplied by 100. And that's how you get the 75%. That is the percentage change in demand. Now the percentage change in income. It was 1,000, now it's 1,500. How much did it change by?
500.
500.
Did it increase or decrease?
Increase.
Increase.
So it's positive 500 over the original income, which is how much?
Repeat,
1,000.
please, sir.
What's the original income?
1,000.
So it'll be 500 over 1,000 multiplied by 100. And that's how you get the 50%. Then you can calculate the income elasticity. Percentage change in demand, which is 75%, divided by the percentage change in income, which is 50%. And that gives you 1.5. So you all have to practice that. Just remember, when you're calculating a percentage change, it's always change over original. So the percentage change in demand will be the change in demand over the original demand multiplied by 100. The percentage change in income would be the change in income over the original income multiplied by 100. The second to last one is cross elasticity of demand. You ever heard of this one? Have anybody that never heard of this one before?
Yes, sir, I've heard of it
Everybody
before.
heard of it, right?
Yes.
Right. This one is the percentage change in demand of one good due to the percentage change in price of another good. So your people are accustomed buying peanut butter and jam together. The price of jam increase, and that caused the demand for peanut butter to decrease. So the cross elasticity of demand would be how much the change in price in jam affect the change in demand for peanut butter. And the formula is the same thing. So I'll calculate the percentage change in demand for the first good. It was 6, now it's 8. It changed by how much? How much? 2?
So,
Right. It increase or decrease?
increase
Increase.
So it's positive 2 divided by the original amount, which is how much?
6.
6.
2 over 6 multiplied by 100. That's how we got the 33.3%. The original price for Gova was 6. Now it's 12. How much it increased by?
6.
Positive 6 because it increased. So it will be 6 over 6, which is the original amount, multiplied by 100. That's how we got the 100%. And then I'll calculate my cross elasticity of demand, which is the percentage change in demand, which is 33.3%, divided by the percentage change in price of the next good, which is 100%, and that will give you 0.33. Again, only way around it is to learn it and practice. Learn it off and practice. And then last but not least, the price elasticity of supply. The percentage change in quantity supplied due to a percentage change in price. And again, it's calculated same way. The percentage change in supplied with quantity supplied will be the change in supply divided by the original supply. So it used to be 5 pencil cases, now it's 7 pencil cases. How much it changed by?
2.
Positive 2.
2. Did it think positive 2, right? I'm glad they say positive 2 one time. So it'll be positive 2 over the original amount, which is how much?
5.
5 multiplied by 100, and that's how we get the 40%. The original price was 10, now it's 12. How much it changed by?
2.
2. Increase or
2.
decrease?
Increase
Increase.
So it will be positive 2 over the original price, which is how much?
10.
10.
Multiplied by 100, and that's how you get the 20%. Then you'll take a percentage change in quantity supplied, which is 40, divided by the percentage change in price, which is 20, and that'll give you 2.
So I want to ask you something, please.
So,
So I saw a question in one of the papers and it said cross price elasticity. So I was kind of confused as to which way I'm supposed to go.
that is this one. the percentage change in demand of one good divided by the percentage change in price of another good.
So why they put cross dash price? Why they put that
That is what
in
they
the
call it,
question?
cross elasticity of demand,
But
or
I find
cross
that I saw cross
price
dash
elasticity of
price.
demand. Same thing. It's the
Yeah.
same thing.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
This is what the price elasticity of supply would look like. The meanings are the same. 0, perfectly inelastic. Greater than 0, less than 1, fairly inelastic. 1, unitary elastic. Greater than 1, less than infinity, fairly elastic. And infinity, perfectly elastic. The meanings are the same. These are the graphs here. So the first one, perfectly inelastic, completely vertical. The second one, fairly inelastic, is closer to vertical than it is horizontal. 3, unitary elastic, will go straight up the middle. 4, fairly elastic, will be closer to vertical and horizontal. Oh, I'm saying it the wrong way. Closer to horizontal than vertical, sorry. And 5, perfectly elastic, will be a straight line. Changes in price, even though there's no change in demand. Changes in demand in supply, sorry, although there's no change in price. So you all could sit down with this, look at the graph, look at the meaning, the degrees of elasticity, go through it. There's a high chance to come for the exam, but once you know the degrees of elasticity for demand, you know it for supply as well. It's basically the same thing. Let's just take a look at this question. Well, these couple of questions. We're not doing market structures today. Let's look at these. So here they ask, define the following terms: market and a supply schedule. I see a lot of people let's get this market schedule and demand schedule question wrong. What they will do is when they see market supply schedule, is they'll define supply. Supply and supply schedule is two different things. And the question actually hints it by showing you a demand and supply schedule for pens below. The supply schedule is a table that shows you the different quantities supplied due to different prices. So when the price is 1, quantity supplied is 0. When price is 2, quantity supplied is 10 and so forth. You know, a
Repeat.
market is a place where buyers and sellers meet to interact. Alright, so when it asks now, state 2 factors that could cause an increase in supply for pens. What would you all say? What could cause an increase in supply?
The demand for it?
An increase in demand. What else?
The cost to produce it.
If the cost increase or decrease?
Increase.
If the cost decrease, they will supply more. If the cost increase, because it costs them more money, they will supply less. So a decrease in
New
cost.
technology. New
And,
technology.
right, new technology could cause them to supply more.
More resources.
More resources that could cause them to supply more.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
The supply schedule is a table
Showing the amount that companies are willing to supply based on the price. So this is a supply schedule. This is a demand and supply schedule here. So it's showing you the different prices and how much people are willing to buy, that's demand. And then they look and showing you the different prices and how much companies are willing to supply based on the price. You see that?
Yes, sir.
Alright. That's a demand schedule and a supply schedule.
Oh,
Then
shows demand and supply
yeah,
schedule.
yeah,
Same thing.
yeah. Well, they asked specifically for a supply schedule, but they showed you an example of a demand and supply schedule right here.
Okay.
Then they asked us they said study the table below that represents the demand and supply schedule. And they asked us about, I think I missed out a question. That's not checking something. Yes. Yeah, so I have a question that I left out. They had asked, which price has the largest surplus? Meaning it has more supply than demand. Which price has the greatest one? Greatest surplus? What do you think? 1, 2, 3, or 4?
4.
4. Alright, at 4, price 4, quantity supplied is 50, and the quantity demand is 0, which will leave as much as 50 goods on the market. And which one has the largest shortage, where there isn't enough goods to satisfy demand?
1.
1. At price 1, demand is 50, but there is no quantity supplied, which will leave persons wanting. Right. Then they ask us to calculate the price elasticity if the price move from 2 to 4. So let's calculate. The price move from 2 to 4. This price is demand or supply? Let me check. Price elasticity of supply. Alright, so the price moved from 2 to 4. Supply moves from 10 to 50. So let's calculate the percentage change in supply first. It went from 10 to 50. How much it changed by?
40.
40.
Positive 40.
Positive 14.
So it'll be 40 divided by the original supply. What's the original supply?
10.
10
10.
multiplied by 100, which is how much?
0.4.
40 divided by 10 multiplied by 100. Check it and see.
40.
400.
No, 400%. Now let's look at the change in price. It went from 2 to 4. How much it changed by?
2.
2.
Positive 2.
Positive 2. What's the original amount? Original price?
2.
2. So 2 over 2 multiplied by 100 is how much? 2 over 2 is 1. 1 by 100 is how much?
100.
100.
So that'll be 100%. So now we're going to calculate the price elasticity of supply, which is the percentage change in supply divided by the percentage change in price. We calculated, right, exactly. We calculated the change in supply to be 400%, and we calculated the percentage change in price to be 100%. 400 divided by 100 is equal to 4. Nice how you calculate it. This is not bad at all. Draw using a label diagram, illustrate the relationship between the price of pens and the quantity supplied of pens. I gave this question to my Form 5 some mock exam, and some of them drew a demand and supply curve. You could lose marks for that, right? Because the question didn't ask you about demand. They specifically asked you for supply. So all they needed you to do was draw the supply curve. So what you would do, let's go back by the table. You will draw your curve. Bam. Bam. Let's see your price. You have 0 here. You have price 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, you'll probably label better than me. So, one, 2, 3, 4. Then I have my quantity, 10, 30, 50, and I'll plot my graph. You see me, I showed you all how to plot the production possibility curve. I'm doing it the same way. That's how you plot all the graphs. So when price is 1, quantity supplied is 0. So I put in a point where price is next to the 1 for the price and 0 for quantity supplied. When price is 2, quantity supplied is 10. So I'm going to put a point in line with the 2 for price and the 10 for quantity. All right, just to be clear, this is price. The price is always the y-axis. Quantity supplied is always the x-axis. When price was 3, quantity supplied was 30. So I'm putting a point in line with 3 for price and 30 for quantity supplied. And when price is 4, quantity supplied is 50. So I put in a point where price is 4, quantity supplied is 50. And then I draw my lines through it, and that's my supply curve. Simple as that. Alright, I had students that did this correctly, but then also plotted the demand curve, which the question did not ask for. Make sure and read the question carefully and answer what the question is asking, right? Oh, there's the answers. Right. So here they're asking about the law of demand and the law of supply. The law of demand is simple. As price increases, what happens to demand?
Demand decreases.
Decreases.
And the law of supply, as price increases, supply
Decreases.
increases. What are two determinants of supply?
Resources.
Alright.
And price.
Technology.
Production.
Alright, the cost of production, technology, the level of demand. What are four determinants of demand?
Surplus.
Income. Change in income.
Change in income.
This.
Mm-hmm.
Price of other goods.
Price of other goods. Right.
And change in population.
Right. And then here they give you a cross elasticity of demand question. Right. So I'll just go through this with you quickly. So what we did, we calculated the percentage change in price. Actually, we'll just do it here. The price of vanilla ice cream went from 80 cents to 70 cents, which caused the quantity for chocolate ice cream to decrease from 120 to 100. And they want us to calculate the cross elasticity of demand, which will be the percentage change in demand for chocolate divided by the percentage change in price for vanilla ice cream. See, cross price elasticity, same thing as cross elasticity, right? Same thing.
So that was the question.
So let's calculate the percentage change in demand first. It went from 120 to 100. How much did it change by?
Positive. No.
Negative how much?
Negative 20.
So it'll be negative 20 divided by the original amount, which is how much?
120.
Multiplied by 100. And that is how we get Negative 20 divided by 120 multiplied by 100, 16.7. Is that correct? That's not correct. That is not correct. There's no. Negative 20 divided by 120. No, it is correct. My bad. 16.7.
16.67.
Yeah. And then we calculate the change, percentage change in price. It went from 80 cents to 70 cents. How much it changed by?
10 cents.
10 cents. Positive 10 or negative?
Positive.
It got smaller, so it would
Okay.
be negative. So it'll be negative 10 cents over the original amount, which is how much?
80.
80 cents multiplied by 100. So we got negative 10 cents divided by 80 cents multiplied by 100, which gave us negative 12.5. Now we calculate it by taking, let's just stay right here, the percentage change in the demand, which was 16.7, divided by the percentage change in price, which was 12.5. And that's how we got the 1.336. Now the last part, they want to know vanilla ice cream and chocolate ice cream are related goods. Identify the relationship between them, right? So when goods are related, they could be one of two things. They could be substitute goods or complementary goods. Complementary goods are goods that you normally buy together. So you buy a printer, you'll buy ink for the printer. You'll buy paper for the printer. Those things go together. You buy peanut butter, you might buy jam. Those things go together. Substitute goods are goods that you might buy in place of the other. So instead of peanut butter, you decide to buy almond butter. Instead of KFC, you decide to buy Royal Castle, another fried chicken place. They want to know what's the relationship between vanilla and chocolate. This is how you could tell. If it's a complementary good, an increase in demand of one of them would lead to an increase in demand of the other. A decrease in demand of one of them would lead to a decrease in demand of the other. They would increase and decrease together. If they are substitute goods, then it would be the opposite. An increase in demand of one would lead to a decrease in demand of the other. A decrease in demand of one would lead to an increase in demand of the other. Let's look at this. Vanilla ice cream went from 80 cents to 70 cents. If the price drops, would people buy more vanilla ice cream or less?
More.
More. So people are buying more vanilla ice cream. However, the quantity for chocolate ice cream demanded decreased. So they're buying more vanilla ice cream and less chocolate ice cream. That means they are complementary or substitute?
Substitute.
Substitute. All right. And that will bring us to the end of the one of our economics crash course. We shall, yes?
So the question we just did, the thing
Mm-hmm.
with the small shop reduce the price. We have to do the calculation for the change in quantity of chocolate first
Yeah,
before we do the change in, okay.
yeah.
So I think I mixed it up.
There's always quantity over price. There's always the quantity over money. So when there's percentage change in when there's price elasticity, it's percentage change in demand over price. When it's income elasticity, it's percentage change in demand over income. It's always the quantity over the money.
Okay.
Alright, so we'll end here. And tomorrow we're gonna start off with market structures. Market structures, market failure, and according to how long that takes, because market structures tend to take a little while when it comes to the graphs, according to how long it takes, we will see if we could touch on one or two of the macro topics as well. All right, so we'll end here for today. I hope today was helpful. And we shall continue tomorrow